Hit it, Phil.
Can it be the breeze that fills the trees with rare and magic perfume? Oh, no, it isn't the breeze. It's Jackson time. La, da, da, da.
Anyway, yeah. Well, Joel, again, this is Buck Benny speaking. We have a treat for you today. This episode, it's one of those episodes that I just, when I read the title, Rochester Sleeps Through the Jack Benny Show, I was just like, oh, I'd rather watch this one's got Bob Hope in it. I'll watch Bob Hope's appearance, or I'll watch this thing. And it just sounds kind of mundane. But this episode is a powerful episode and a wonderful episode, and really a tour de force for the Rochester character. And I love it for that. In fact, I was watching it and just thought, oh, we got to get Eddie Anderson Jr.'s view on this whole thing. And so luckily we could get Eddie to come and be here. Thank you, Eddie, for coming and joining us.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
It's so awesome to have you and to talk about this episode in particular, because it pushes some boundaries and things that I think needed to be pushed, and does a beautiful job of it between the writers and the acting and the whole thing. But we'll get into all that. We also have Kathy Fuller-Seeley here. We also have John Henderson here. And we'll just kind of work our way around and talk about this episode. Let's start off with I guess I'll talk about the main scene, the scene that, anyway, to me, really hit home. Rochester has a friend that's named Roy, and it's played by the actor's name. I forget his last name, but the actor's name is Roy as well.
Roy Glenn.
Roy Glenn, that's it, Roy Glenn. And Roy Glenn, I thought they'd originally, because I think at some point we've had him on before and we've talked about him. But I think at that point, I think John may have corrected me, because I think John was right, which I hate admitting. But but I thought that they'd hired the actor to be on the TV show, and then just brought him over to the radio show as they, since he was being on the TV show. But the reality is, Roy appeared in 1948 for his first appearance on the Jack Benny radio show, and he would be on the radio show about a dozen times, and on television show about the same, about a dozen times. So they overlap a lot of the way, but certainly his first appearances were on the radio show, and I'm glad that they brought that friendship and that character over to the TV show. But you could tell this is about his third or fourth appearance on the TV show. And you could tell the first couple times they weren't sure how far they could push things. And so they have him appear with Eddie and have them both on the same screen, and no other, it's just two black characters on television, which is groundbreaking and amazing. But the first few times they're featured, they're cleaning the house together, or maybe one of them's got an apron on, and it just sort of tries to, we don't offend America, so we're going to show them as both being servants, sort of thing, to somebody else, to the white man or whatever. And I know they were still trying to break some ground, but they were doing it softly. But this one really hits home because they both are wearing suits. They look absolutely top notch. I mean, they're both great looking guys, and they come on, and they move a couch together is the only thing they do that's a domestic thing, and yet that's a much more masculine thing to do, move a couch together and things. And then they have a discussion that's a wonderful discussion about going together, they're going to go camping together, and they talk about hunting, and just to have these two actors, black actors, on the screen at the same time talking to each other in one of the most popular shows on television, and to be throughout the country having them in your living room and saying it's okay, and that black people have conversations, just like, I mean, in a way it's like, okay, the conversation is a little more for part of the country, it's a little more rural in that hunting and all of that is considered, towards the more rural states and things. So I think it's interesting to kind of show folks that maybe would have questions about what do black people talk about and things to show that no, they're having conversations about hunting and about fishing and about camping together and everything. And I just think it was really groundbreaking to have that scene and to have it played so well with those two actors and have them on for quite a while. I mean, they covered quite a bit of ground together and things, and I just found that delightful. Anyway, there's lots of other ground in this episode to cover, but if anyone wants to jump on any of that, let's go over to Eddie first. Eddie, those scenes, because we don't get that in I Love Lucy. I'm sure she had a black actor on at some point on the show, but I don't know that they ever had two black actors on the screen at the same time without any white actors around. Do you get the same impression I get, that is a groundbreaking thing for 1956?
Because I used to watch I Love Lucy all the time. I love Lucy and Ricky.
Yeah.
Being I guess Hispanic or
Cuban. Yeah.
I was waiting for the black guy. Like,
right.
I swear I was waiting all the time. I don't think I ever, if they did, it wasn't enough for me to remember.
Correct.
So I'm much like yourself. I remember seeing probably last year. I really watched that show with the gentleman named Roy and my father, and I thought it was a powerful scene, just because, again, kind of sort of opening the door to what Black people do, how Black people really are, the realism that they had the American way, period. Hunting, they were doing everything
to not make the black person be the other,
right?
Not be this. Black people are different, and
they were a lot of people tried to demonize. We already know that. They tried to create, but with the Jack Benny show, what's amazing is they did it on in front of the camera, but the backstories are also linked to that with the not only white hotel.
Yes.
You get it, all these things, and Jack Benny just like, no, if Rochester's not going to stay there.
We're not.
And the fact that even Mel Blanc playing in so many different nationalities and cultures, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I think, you know what I'm saying? They were just touching on everything. So you can say that it's just acting.
Right.
You get it. We can watch a show and it feels good. And I even met a couple of actors that I got the impression that they were warm and fuzzy, but when I met them, I find out
not so much.
It wasn't, but when I hear them speak, I'm like, oh, and I walked up to them. I'm like, hey, I'm Eddie Anderson.
Right.
And they're like, and you get it? But I just heard you speak about my father in such a beautiful light. Thought there might be a connection. Nope. You get it?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, wow. So, and I'm like, wait a minute. He's an actor.
Right.
And that's what actors do.
Well, it amazes me how long your dad had to hold the door open. From 1937, this is 1956, this episode we're playing, and he's introduced in 37. So it's 20 years that he's holding that door open and saying, and Jack and their team is saying, you can have a black actor acting with white actors. You can have a black actor featured on your show. And people take it up a little bit here and there, but not much, not in any kind of continuing way, really until a decade after this, when you have I Spy and when you have Uhuru show up as the communications person on Star Trek. And even that, she felt like a part wasn't that big for her. And so she was looking at leaving, and Martin Luther King told her, no, you need to stay. It shows that we are, as Black people, going to be in the future and have just normal jobs that on a ship. They need somebody to be communications, and that's what you do. You're not the cleaning lady on the ship. You have a job and you have a future, and we are in that future. And we know that there are people that went into worked for NASA and things that are Black people that are specifically saw that as a possibility for them because of her being on that show. And would she be on that show without your dad being with Jack Benny first and opening that door and holding that door open for other Black actors and saying, come on, people, let's go. Producers, let's hire some Black people and have them on our shows. We don't have to shy away from that. We don't have to be, everything doesn't have to be white everywhere. No. And I think that was just a wonderful gift that your father gave us, and that the writers and everything, and that they didn't give up on it, and they said, no, we're going to keep doing this. And he was, and you know, and of course he's still on Jack's show in 1965. His show's still going, and he's on the show, and that's when we get I Spy. That's the year we get all these things. It was almost like he held the door open, and then the show's ends, and right as it's ending, yes, other Black performers get a chance. Finally, he held that door open for 25 years. Well, no, 30 years, and then finally some of it started to happen. And then in the 70s we have more of it. And now we still have, you know, we'll be. I don't know. I
have an issue with that. My issue is you just put it so eloquently, and
you tried.
No, you did. But my problem is not just with he's been overlooked with white America, but with Black America.
Yes.
That's huge what you're saying. And I get it, and a lot of people get it, but as a whole, no. You don't hear the NAACP speak of my father. And if there is such an achievement award, oh my God, come on.
Yeah.
But you're saying he was truly the pioneer that opened up all these doors.
Yes.
But you don't see that. Everywhere I look, I've gone to movie theaters, Black movie theaters that had all these Black pictures of people that participated in this fight. And I walked up on Magic Johnson. I'm sorry, I did. I saw him at the theater, Magic Johnson Theater. Yeah. I said, hey, Magic. I said, that's a beautiful wall right there, the wall of the ceremony, all these pictures. I said, but you got somebody's picture missing. And he said, who? I said, well, I'm Eddie Rochester Anderson Jr. And I think my father's picture should be somewhere on that wall.
I agree.
And he said he agreed, but he said, take down this number, call this person, they'll call you back. That person will call you, and you know how it goes. And
I know.
And boy, does that
the back burner thing.
Oh my God, that lends to my frustration, and I don't get it. First of all, some of Black America has a problem because my father played a subservient role.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Duh, you get in where you fit in.
Exactly.
You understand?
He would, if he didn't do that, he would have had no.
Yes, imagine. So give him credit for even taking the role to a completely different level.
Well, and would anyone who watched the show ever say that was a subservient role? It was not a subservient role. It was the position that he supposedly occupied was that subservient, but it was never played that way.
So they're trying to say almost sort of slave mentality or slave projection. Slaves don't get the weekend off.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
Slaves don't get a chance to wear Jack Benny's tuxedo and convince him that he should wear one of his other tuxedos.
Yes.
Duh. You can't say that a slave can drive the Maxwell or on his own and go out on a date.
Right.
You kind of get what I mean? And that tells me exactly what you just said.
Or the fact that in Buck Benny Rides Again, he has the better car out of the two.
That's what I mean.
Rochester's car is way better than Jack's car.
Let me tell you, Batman and Robin, you get it?
Yes.
Come on, you see what I mean? there's a Robin. Everybody can't be Batman.
No, right.
It just doesn't work that way, but you're a team.
Yep.
If you're a quarterback,
Yes.
you still need receivers. You still need defense. It's a team sport. Even acting, the way you project, it's and even Jack Benny is on it. Period. I think everybody. If it wasn't for you guys doing what you're doing, stuff, I commend you strongly for being such dedicated people to something that has some substance.
Yes.
Stuff like that. What if you guys didn't do what you were doing?
Right.
You understand?
I have a strong feeling that if there was no Rochester character,
yeah,
I might not be. I doubt I would be doing all of these shows. I mean, Jack's the focus or whatever, but that character is such a strong part of the show that it makes it interesting. He's a whole nother area to talk about.
right.
Because when you do, I've done intros and John's done intro to thousands of shows. For us to have something to talk about for thousands of intros,
Right.
you've got to have something more than just saying, "Oh, this is another Jack Benny show," right?
That's what I mean.
But you can talk about Rochester. You can talk about the impact that he has or should have, like you're saying. He should be right up there with Jackie Robinson, right up there with all these people that are groundbreaking. I will say this that was interesting that just I got this information this week, and I don't know if you saw it or not, Eddie, but when I put out the show that you're in, the recreation that we had that you did where you played your dad's part, one of the people responded back was a teacher, and they said, "This underscores and makes me so proud of the fact that I included Eddie Rochester Anderson in my presentations of Black History Month." And it shows because you got that point across that how important he was, and that this person, even without seeing it, had already included him. So it is happening. It's just needs to happen more, and it needs to be your dad needs to be remembered as this trailblazer that he truly was. And
thank you.
And I think it's starting to turn that corner a little bit as we with John's show and with my show, and
you guys are helping.
And the YouTube stuff that's out there. There's so much out there. Yeah.
And you know what? A lot of times, if there's something to be done, I can't just talk about it. I have to be about it.
Yes, you do.
You kind of get what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's a tough one, but it's been all my life. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
You get used to it. So.
Well, that's why I find we're so blessed to have you join us sometimes.
Yeah.
Because you're out there doing stuff, which is fantastic. And yet you take the time every once in a while to pop in here and talk with us and share some of your insights, which I think are marvelous. And we're so blessed to have you. Yeah. But let's go around then, since we talked about that piece so much, and see if let's head over to Kathy. Was there anything we've talked about or anything else in this episode that you want to bring up? Because there's lots going on.
Well, no, I just wanted to thank you, Daryl and Eddie, for talking about the importance of representations of sort of normality. Mm-hmm. That we that can, just sort of not have to be a very special episode. That, I mean, that one of the wonderful things about the entire Benny program, Eddie Rochester Anderson's performance and the writers and Benny's leadership to make this be an important part of the show, of just showing sort of a normal everyday life of African Americans, white people, living their lives, interacting. It was so unusual on American television of the period. And I think academics, people writing about television, have not looked in that area. Well, because it was so rare for, this wasn't happening on any other sitcom. Nope. And very few other shows. So it is very much worth honoring and celebrating. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly right, Kathy. And when I think about that scene with Roy in particular, it really is humanizing them and just normal guys living their everyday life, you know, being represented. And the
Yeah.
thing that is so amazing is that there's a reason for it in
Mhm.
the whole story, and it's setting up hilarious comedy later on. Like this part where they're just chatting, it seems like, oh, they're just talking about camping normal. And then the payoff later, when Rochester sort of implies that he's going to be leaving, and he says, you know, oh, I guess I'll just, you know, hunt for food if I run across something, calling back to what they were talking about earlier. I
Right.
think it's so brilliant and hilarious. And it does that throughout the episode.
Right.
Rochester never really lies at any point, even when he's bluffing that he watched the show. He always takes the facts and then makes it seem like the thing he wants them to see. I think it's so funny. This whole episode is just a breath of fresh air, because you know we have been doing a number of Jack Benny episodes, and some of them are great, like this one. Some of them they're not maybe the best episodes ever.
Right.
This one I was so impressed by from beginning to end.
Yes.
If nothing else, I mean, the writing is great, the delivery is great, but the editing is something that is often lacking in Jack Benny television episodes. The editing on this episode is beautiful.
Yes.
The timing, the different, like, you know, it's really professional.
And this was not a live episode, correct?
No.
This is a filmed episode, and we've talked before how the live ones usually just flow better, and sometimes these filmed ones can be a little disjointed or seem awkward.
Exactly.
This one never seems awkward. It flows, and like you say, it's such a beautiful piece, because it's, as Kathy said, it's not a very special episode that's going to show two Black characters talking. That's just part of the show. That's just part of the progression of the episode. And it's a great episode without that. But with that, one is a very funny episode, and two, it's really groundbreaking in a lot of ways too, and without trying too hard to be that, you know.
It's totally natural
Yes.
from story points, and
Yes.
yet they're not afraid, you know, oh, we can't have this scene, right?
Yeah.
They'll include it, and it fits perfectly with the story. You know, I think that if it wasn't a filmed episode, we
Yeah.
never would have gotten Mary, and we definitely wouldn't have gotten Mary singing.
Yes.
And it is so fun. And she, you know, sometimes even on the filmed episodes, Mary seems awkward or
Mhm.
nervous. In this episode, she seems happy, like she's enjoying herself from the second she starts on the screen, and then through the whole thing with Bob Crosby, and they're coming in at the end. I thought it was so fun to see Mary, which we rarely see on television.
Agreed.
And-
That's the other piece that just nails this for me.
Mhm.
Is this is probably the best presentation of Mary of any episode I've ever seen, and the fact that I've always loved it when she sings on the show. She sings on the radio show probably pretty much once or twice a season or something, more or less, especially in the earlier seasons.
ones, yeah.
And then to have her, I just never thought we'd get this. I just never thought it would exist, an episode where she's actually going to sing for us, and she does, as a duet with Bob Crosby, and Bob Crosby does a fun job with her, and it's just delightful.
Yeah,
Just
his Remley story is hilarious.
Yes.
And then, you know, then you get into the Rochester stuff. The vacuum bike is a funny gag, a
Yes.
visual thing. He drives that thing pretty well. And
Well, what I like about that gag, it's one of those things that, you know, the writers always amaze me sometimes, because that gag is essentially Rochester being lazy, but in a creative way. He's finding an interesting way, and shows how smart he is to figure out this contraption. They do that a lot with him, where he figures out some thing that eases his job. And so you're not just playing on the stereotypical, oh, it's a lazy Black person or whatever that they're,
Right.
you know, this is a creative a brilliant Black person that's finding a way to creatively get himself more time to do the things he wants to do. And I don't think that's a bad thing at all.
He was an inventor.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
He's
it made him an inventor.
Yeah, yeah. And they play, and not just this episode, multiple episodes, they have him inventing various things that are ingenious and funny. And
what they usually say, they say, don't work harder, work smarter.
That's right.
And that's exactly what he does. Yep. Yeah.
So they put smart. They put smart in the whole equation.
Yes.
So yeah.
And I love that. It's not, they don't play him as just whining and trying to get out of work all the time or something. I have to do that, Mr. Benny, or anything like that. He's always getting out of it in creative ways. And that makes it fun, and that makes it funny, and that makes him seem really smart, the character. So I think it's great.
One little moment is when he does his impression. There's the movie Mutiny on the Bounty where Charles Lawton plays the captain, and he's got the 3-corner hat, and so Rochester puts on the pillow as a 3-corner hat with like the tassel in the right place and does a little Charles Lawton impression. That was a fun little treat.
Very nice. Yeah, yeah. And then the last piece I want to bring up is at the end of the episode, this scene in Rochester's room where, and we get to see Rochester's room, that he has a room. That's kind of nice too.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
And so it's a beautiful room, and it's not anything, it's just again demonstrating that this character, this person, this persona that we have of this Black person can have a tidy, great room and everything, whereas I think part of America, because of what they've been shown by either Amos and Andy or what told, they've got this thought that, all Black people are just living a mess and chaos is there, it's
Tarzan.
Yeah, right. So it's like, let's present that, hey, here's a guy, he's got a day, and he's packing his suitcase and everything, and then Jack comes in, and Jack thinks that he's leaving him because Jack was upset that he'd fallen asleep during his television show. And just that the dialogue between them and how much Jack is going to miss Rochester and is trying to get him to stay, and the fact that Rochester's not, he's just leaving to go on the camping trip that we heard about earlier with Roy. And at some point, Rochester realizes, oh, Jack thinks I'm leaving. And then he plays with that a little bit and has some fun at Jack's expense. And I think that is great too. So, I mean, this episode works on so many levels, and it's just such a great episode. Certainly you guys are in for a treat. Anything else about this episode before we move on? We're good? Okay, I think we'll end this one there. But like I say, great episode. So, and Eddie, thank you so much for joining us for this one and all the episodes you've joined us for, because you give us some insight that we wouldn't have otherwise. And honestly, it's a chance for Kathy and John and I. It's the closest thing we can have to, we can't have your dad here with us, but we could have you, and that's wonderful. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and beautiful it's a beautiful thing that you guys even involved me. I couldn't have even dreamt of this opportunity. I really so my God, yes.
And it will forever live out there until YouTube goes under.
yeah, that's what I mean.
People will be able to look. I think that's so wonderful. They'll be able to see you talking about your dad, and then see your dad perform, and it's there. And
hey, beyond YouTube, because you can download that. So
that's
everybody know, download it on your computer. And
nothing ever goes away. Everything on the internet stays somewhere.
That's
so you're right. This will live
that's
forever.
Huge, man. Yeah. Oh my God. I want to thank you, all of you guys, man. Henderson, Daryl, Kathy. It's huge, man. And the people that are going to be able to see this and totally understand that things I say and all that, I'm not caught up into the black and white division or pushing the black agenda. There's nothing about that. And what Jack Benny showed, it was so parallel of all of his characters. that were participating in that group. I just thought there was just such a projection or a way of showing equality the way it should be.
Yes.
That
Yes.
was true equality.
Yep.
So some of those shows were funny, but they were a tear jerker. When I saw the relationship and how they played, I was able to see the true essence of my father and Jack Benny at times. And there was some emotional stuff going on. You get what I'm saying? It really was.
Yeah.
And I don't get that easy. And I'm watching a comedy show and getting a little tear.
Yeah.
Come on. You get it? So
I get you.
how
I
can
feel the
you do
same
that?
way.
Nobody can do that.
No.
I haven't seen it. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me, and I'll be glad to come back. for sure.
Okay.
All right.
I'm so excited that you will. That is fantastic. Well, thanks everybody. Enjoy this episode.
The Jack Benny Program.
Uh-oh. Mr. Benny be through with his rehearsal. I better get his makeup ready. Oh, for heaven's sakes, I can't do everything. Hello? Yeah, this is Mr. Benny's dressing room. Now, I'm sorry you can't talk to him now. He's rehearsing. Yeah, he's rehearsing. I said he was rehearsing! What do you think, he ad-libs all that stuff?
Telegram for Mr. Benny.
I'll take it, boy. Don't go away. I want to give you a tip. Where's Mr. Benny's pants? Oh, there they are. I should know where they're. Here you are, a quarter.
Thanks.
So long.
Boy, I'm tired.
How was rehearsal, Mr. Benny?
Oh, fine, fine. Joe, give me my pants, will you?
You know, before a show, I get so nervous. Here.
I wonder if I need a shave.
Here they are, Mr. Benny. Here's your pants.
Oh, thanks. Now, Joey,
Yes, sir?
as I said... Joey, who took a quarter out of my pants?
I did. I gave it to the telegram boy. The telegram was for you, so naturally I tipped him with your money.
But a quarter was too much.
Well, how do I know you tip by weight?
All right, just go, will you?
All right, I'll go. You're such a stingy.
Wonder who this wire's from. Dear Mr. Benny, we want to thank you very much for sending us your orchestra. We're holding them over 2 more weeks. The Happy Valley Sanitarium. Gee, 2 more weeks. I'll hardly recognize the boys. Every time they dry them out, they come back 2 inches shorter. Oh, well. Come in. Hi, Mary.
Hi.
Well, we'll be on the air pretty soon. Do you like your part?
Well, most of it, Jack, but there's something I'd like to talk to you about.
What is it?
Well, you know, I've been working for you for a very long time, and I think without a doubt you're one of the great talents of American theater. Not only are you suave, debonair, and sophisticated, but you're also versatile in dramatics. And without a doubt, the dean of American comedy.
Oh, well, thank you, Mary. Now, what is it you wanted to talk to me about?
That line. Don't you think it's too long for my opening speech?
For heaven's sakes, Mary, I put that in myself just to show up my other qualities. I'm sick and tired of my writers always making me a cheap and stingy character.
Jack, don't blame it on your writers. You are parsimonious and you know it.
Parsimonious? What's that?
It's a high-class word meaning open up your wallet and let the sunshine in.
Miss Livingston, if you're insinuating what I think you are, then you should have been here just a little while ago when that Western Union boy came in. What do you think I tipped him?
An ounce and a half.
How'd you know?
Joey told me.
That blabbermouth. Hey, Mary, do me a favor, will you?
Sure.
Put my links in here.
Okay.
The cufflinks. Thanks. Come in.
Hiya, kids.
Hi, Bob. Come on in.
Thought you might like some soft drinks.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks, Bob.
Say, Jack, could I borrow your powder?
Yeah, here. Here you are, Bob.
Say, Jack, about that song that Mary and I are going to do on the show today. How much time are you going to allow us?
Oh, about 2.5 minutes. Have you got a good arrangement of it?
At the best. Made by one of the boys up in Happy Valley.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah, Remley brought it to me this morning.
Remley? Remley's out of the sanitarium? I mean, how did he get over the wall?
He didn't have to. He's got a corkscrew, goes right through cement.
No kidding.
Yeah, one of his kids gave it to him for Father's Day.
Remley must have been surprised.
Yeah, he didn't know he had that kid.
Well, here's your shirt, Jack.
Oh, thanks, Mary.
You know, I've been thinking about that number that Bob and I are going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't think I want to be in it.
Why not?
Well, singing out in front of so many people makes me awfully nervous.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, Mary. Look how many times I've walked out on the stage in front of people with my violin. And I'm certainly no Heifetz or Isaac Stern or a Misha Elman.
You can throw Spade Cooley in there, too.
Oh, quiet. Look, Mary, if you're worried about the song, why don't you and Bob run over it right now?
Now?
Certainly, we've got plenty of time. And look, Bob, here's the way I'm going to introduce it. You see, I'm going to say, and now, ladies and gentlemen, Mary Livingston is going to sing. And with her is my guest star, that very charming and talented and popular young man, Mr. Bob Crawford.
I like New York in June. How about you? I like a Gershwin tune. How about you?
I like a fireside when a storm is due. I like potato chips, moonlight, and motor trips. How about you?
I'm mad about good books, can't get my fill. The way young lovers look gives me a thrill. Holding hands in a movie show when all the lights are low may not be new, but I like it. How about you?
I'm fond of artichokes. How about you?
Jack Benny's corny jokes. How about you?
I like to window shop on the avenue. I like the human race, opera, and bouillabaisse. How about you?
I'd like a pizza pie.
I'm hungry too.
I wonder who will buy. I wish I knew. Let's be fair.
Let's be sociable.
I'm not negotiable.
We know that's true.
But we like it. How about you?
Told you Mary was going to be fun.
Oh, you were worried about it. Well, didn't she do swell?
Well, I've got to go change my clothes. I'll see you all
Okay.
later.
Okay,
Bye,
Bob.
Bob.
Mary, it'll be a few minutes before the show. Why don't you sit down?
Oh,
We'll
okay.
relax a little bit here.
I hope the show is good. You know, Mama watches every program I'm on.
Hey, by the way, Mary, how's your mother enjoying her stay in?
10 minutes airtime, 10 minutes airtime. Hurry! 10 minutes airtime, 10 minutes airtime.
We haven't got as much time as I thought. Well, better get my tie on.
Gosh, I hope that song is good. You know, Mama's my severest critic.
Well, I've got a critic, too. You know, I always rush home as soon as the show is over to find out exactly what Rochester thought of it.
Rochester?
Yep. And believe me, he's a good judge of material, too. I go by everything he says.
Well, Jack, I'll see you on stage.
Okay, Marion, don't be nervous or anything. Gosh, I hope Rochester likes the show.
Oh, there's the door. There's the door. There's the door. There's the door. Come in. Come in. Quiet, Polly. Why do you always have to repeat everything you hear? Oh, all right.
Hi, Rochester.
I'm just straightening up a little bit. You want to give me a hand?
Oh, I don't, man.
All right. Gotta move this couch back here.
Yeah, I just dropped in to see if you're still going on our little camping trip tomorrow.
I sure am. You know, it isn't very often that I get 2 days off. I wouldn't miss it. Where are we going?
Oh, I got a little cabin up in the high Sierras. It isn't much. We'll only have cold water, have to chop a lot of wood to keep warm, but we'll have a lot of fun.
Sounds good to me. Oh, pardon me, I got to put this thing away. Put it away, put it away.
Rochester, what kind of gadget is this?
Oh, little secret of mine. Had it made at Sam's bicycle shop. I can clean the whole house in 20 minutes.
Only 20 minutes? What do you do in your spare time?
What did you say?
I said, what do you do with your spare time?
Roy, where Mr. Benny's concerned, the word spare only pertains to bowling.
Well, I gotta be running along now. I'll see you in the morning. And don't be late.
Oh, don't worry. I'm gonna pack tonight.
Oh, good, good.
Say, Roy, how much food should we take along with
Well,
us?
we're not gonna take any food. There's a lot of game up there. If we get hungry, we'll take our guns and go out and shoot something.
Sure sounds exciting. Well, see you in the morning.
So long, Rochester.
If Mr. Benny knew I could clean this house in 20 minutes, he'd really load me down with work. Sam's bicycle shop, Sam's bicycle shop. Polly, if you repeat one word of this in front of Mr. Benny, I'm going to take a pair of tweezers and pluck your eyebrows all the way down. Oh, look what time it is. It's almost time for Mr. Benny's television show. I better get set to watch it. Turn it on, turn it on. I will. Sam's bicycle shop. Polly, forget about that.
The Jack Benny Program. Thank you, and good evening.
Which way did they go, Sheriff?
They went that away.
Oh, my goodness, I fell asleep and missed the whole show. This is awful. If Mr. Benny ever finds out that I fell asleep during this program, he'll put me in irons and hang me from the highest yard arm. Boy, how he hams it up. Mr. Christian. Well, I don't want to go through that again. Well, I better tidy up this room. Hello again, this is Jack Benny. Holly, you heard what they said on Mr. Benny's show, and you can help me out of a spot. Now, tell me, what did they say on Mr. Benny's show? Tell me, what did they talk about? You know, you always repeat everything you hear. Now tell me, what did they talk about on Mr. Benny's show? And now for our guest star tonight. Yeah, that's it. Now for who was it, Polly? Who was it? That charming, that talented. That charming, that talented. That popular. Yeah, that popular. That Polly, who was it? That popular. Polly, that popular who? Sam's bicycle shop. Oh, there's Mr. Benny. I better hurry and get this room straightened up.
Well, Rochester, what did you think of my show?
Well,
Well, what?
well, would you like me to fix you a sandwich?
No.
Some lovely ham.
No, I don't want a sandwich, Rochester. Tell me, what did you think of my show? I mean, did you find it entertaining?
Well,
I mean, did it hold you?
hold me. Boss, I didn't move out of that chair. I better go fix you a sandwich.
Rochester, come back here. Now, look, this is important. You see, I can't improve my shows unless I get an honest opinion. Now, tell me the truth, Rochester. Did you really like it?
Boss, while your show was on, I didn't see anything I didn't like.
Honest?
That's about as honest as I can make it.
Thanks. Hello, Polly. Now, Rochester, you see, you've given me an overall opinion of the show, but which part, let's say, did you like best? Which part of the show?
Well, I especially like the way you introduced your guest star. That talented, that charming, that popular. That was class, boss. Real class.
Yeah.
Now, shall I fix you that sandwich?
Yeah.
Don't be but a minute. Oh, here's today's paper.
Thanks. I like New York in June. How about you? Yes, a nice song. Sure glad we had it on our program today. I like a Gershwin tune. How about you? Yum-be-dum-ba-dum-bum.
Boss, that song you're humming is one of my favorites.
It is?
Uh-huh. But I haven't heard it in a long time.
Well... Rochester, you said you haven't heard that song in a long time?
Not for at least 3 or 4 weeks.
Rochester, you didn't watch my television show today, did you?
Well,
Answer me. Did you or did you not watch my television show? Rochester.
well, you see, boss, it was this way.
I don't care which way. What were you doing while my show was on? Oh, so that's it. Thanks. You were asleep, weren't you?
Well, boss, I turned on the set, and then I made myself so comfortable, I fell asleep.
Look, Rochester, if you must sleep during a television show, why does it have to be mine? Why don't you sleep when Bob Hope is on?
I tried that, but the laughs kept waking me up.
Oh, the laughs kept waking you up. But during my program...
Slept like a baby.
Imagine missing my program. The one person I depended on.
But, boss...
Don't but boss me. There's no excuse for missing my show, Rochester.
Can I get you some coffee?
I don't want any coffee. You can go to your room.
But I gotta start fixing dinner.
I'll prepare my own dinner. And as for you, you can stay in your room without dinner. Now go.
But, boss...
Go. Hello?
Hello, Jack. This is Mary.
Oh, hello, Mary.
Jack, I just had to call you. You know, the funniest thing happened.
What?
Well, you know how anxious I was to find out how Mama liked the show?
Yeah?
But when I got home, I found she fell fast asleep and missed the whole thing.
What?
Isn't that funny?
Funny? I don't think it's funny.
Oh, Jack, you're just an old fuddy-duddy.
Fuddy-duddy?
Well, Jack, I've got to go now. I have to fix some lamb chops for Mama.
What? You mean your mother missed the program and you're not sending her to her room without her dinner?
I don't know what you're talking about, but I got to go now. Bye.
Bye.
You're a fuddy-duddy. 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 Fuddy-duddy.
Blue-eyed fuddy-duddy. Well, maybe Mary was right. It's funny at that, falling asleep and missing the program.
I don't think the boss will be mad at me very long. By the time I get back from Roy's cabin, he'll be all over it.
I don't know why I got so upset with Rochester. I'm going to his room and tell him to forget it. Rochester, I just thought the whole thing over. And it's... Rochester. Rochester, what are you doing?
I'm packing.
Packing?
Yeah, I'm leaving in the morning.
Look, Rochester, if I said anything to hurt your feelings, I'm terribly sorry. I mean, can I help it if I'm an old fuddy-duddy? It isn't so terrible that you fell asleep during my program. Gee, I fell asleep once and I was on it. Look, Rochester, after all these years, don't leave me. I mean, don't walk out.
Walk out?
Rochester, look, if anything ever happened to you, I never forgive myself. I mean, Rochester, look, what are you going to do? I mean, where are you going to go?
Oh, I don't know. I'll just wander around and probably end up at some cabin in the mountains.
But Rochester, it'll be cold up there. It might even be snowing.
I know. And I'll probably have to chop wood, keep warm. There won't be anything but cold water.
Well, what are you going to eat?
Don't worry. I'll take my gun along. And if I get real hungry, I'll shoot something.
Rochester, I told you, I'm sorry for what I did. And believe me, I'll make it up to you. Look, I'll give you extra vacations. I'll give you a Labor Day off with pay. I'll even put a window in your room. And Rochester, you know what else I'm going to do? You know what? I'm going right in the kitchen now and make you a nice big dinner. Now, what would you like?
Well, I am kind of hungry.
Of course. You know what I'll do? I'll make you a nice big steak, you know, with mashed potatoes and gravy and hot biscuits and everything. Oh, you just wait right here. I'll be right here. And wait till you taste that steak. It's delicious.
Looks good.
Never mind. I'll get it. Hello? Rochester's for you.
Just take a message, please.
I'll take a message. Yes, Roy? Yes? Mm-hmm. Yes, he's all packed. Yes, he's going to leave with you in the morning. Mm-hmm. Yeah, goodbye, Roy.
Attention Medicare and insurance beneficiaries. Do health issues limit your mobility? Is it difficult to get to the bathroom on your own? Do you feel like a bother to others due to your lack of mobility? Have you fallen in the past 12 months? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you may qualify for a power chair at little to no cost to you.
Hi, I'm Doug Harrison. If you're living with limited mobility, call the scooter store today. We're experts at getting you the power chair or scooter you need. I promise no other company will work harder to make you mobile or do more to ensure your total satisfaction, because making you mobile is our mission. We'll work with your doctor, Medicare, and your private insurance. So don't wait any longer. Call the scooter store today.
Call for your free mobility consultation and free lighted magnifier right now.
Call 1-800-681-4700 and receive this free lighted magnifier.
Twists and turns, laughs with Burns, and steady fun with Benny. None of them run the house like Hazel. She's better than any. With everyone together, it's seriously funny. Classic late night on Antenna TV.